So Dead Island 2, after countless studio changes, developer changes, postpones, millions of dollars, and 10 years in development, the game is finally out and it actually looks pretty good. And, well, it has nothing too new and too revolutionary, but it is a fun beat 'em up slash and dice kind of zombie game with its mechanics and features actually looking pretty good together. And the countless studio changes that it encountered probably set some expectations for people to think maybe the game when it comes out it will be broken as all hell. Maybe it won't even work. Maybe it will be postponed so far that we won't even live to see the day it comes out. But it did come out and it actually does work. It's actually a lot more polished. It looks very good and there are some setbacks, of course, but it's a game that came out and it is pretty good. So we're gonna get into that right now. So Dead Island 2 has a semi-open world. It's not fully open world. You have to have a load screen between areas and all that, but they are still very quick and you can easily travel in between the areas and you can freely explore them once you are in the actual area. So there's really no downside to that, but then again, it's not the same as a full open world. For me, I really don't mind that. I have also played games like Metro, which is kind of a linear story in a semi open world, and you go in between areas and you progress through the story. So this is nothing new, and many games have done that, especially for performance reasons. So there's shorter load screens and overall better performance. So you don't have to render in such a big world just to have it underperform on many systems. And talking about performance, especially with the consoles and upper edge PCs, it works flawlessly. There are sometimes some hiccups for some people, but mostly the game works wonderfully. So that's another plus, and definitely a one up to most of the games that have come out recently that are plain old broken messes that basically don't work. You pay money to have patches come out to be able to play the game within a year. So this game, after coming out and you being able to fully play it just out of the box, is definitely one of the best features I've seen in gaming, definitely in the recent history. Alright, let's talk about characters and playstyles. Well, there's several characters you can choose from, and they have varied abilities, which is pretty cool. But once you choose a character, that's it. Like, that's gonna be your character for the playthrough. You have special abilities with cards that unlock special things like jump kicking, drop kicking, and certain other things like Fury Mode, where you can literally rip zombies apart, like tear them to shreds. But there's also pretty nice things like weapon customizations. You just pick up weapons off the ground and slowly can upgrade them. You can have electric power, flames, you can have more damage for dismemberment. And boy, oh boy, that does a lot, and it looks amazing when you use certain types of weapons. The zombies also change in appearance and everything. You see the actual damage done to the body, and let's get into that right now. So if you're using any bladed weapon or guns or anything against the zombie, you will definitely see some damage done to the body, and with certain weapons that do less damage, you can still see how much damage you can do before the zombie really dies. Or the beefier bosses, you can literally pick them clean off their skin and everything, so they just look like walking skeletons before they die, and it's beautiful. Bladed weapons will cause incisions on the bodies. You'll see small pieces of skin fall off. If you're using blunt force weapons, you can break bones, you can see ribs breaking, chunks of flesh going everywhere, skulls breaking. You can literally beat legs off if you really want to take that approach. Or you can basically de-skin zombies with guns. It's really, really beautiful. It's a gory mess, and that it does wonderfully. And I think it's a very nice additive to have something like that in a zombie game, because, like, if you look at zombie apocalypses, mostly, you see zombies walking around aimlessly or attacking someone. You destroy the brain and then it dies, but if you do damage to the body, they still are able to move, and in this scenario, it's also portrayed very, very nicely. So definitely, I find this as a massive plus. I love gory video games. I love gore in video games. I liked also in Doom Eternal how you could literally rip demons apart. I love Wolfenstein for its gory mess. So every game that has this attention to detail to gore really, really tickles that one part of my brain that gives me that nice, nice shiver. But let's talk about more about the game. If we're comparing it to other games that have come out also with co-op, you may expecting it to not really fully function or have major issues, but in this case, no, co-op works just fine. You can grab a buddy or two, you can just go absolutely demolishing zombies. You can basically troll each other by trying to blow stuff up by by each other and try to do damage to each other. It's not really that important, but like it works flawlessly, and that's another plus, especially to a co-op game where, if it doesn't really work but you have friends that want to play, it truly changes the game itself, really. So now it comes down to whether or not I recommend the game, and it's only one man's opinion, and as with every game, it has mixed reviews everywhere. Some people say it's good, some people say it's bad, and in my opinion, if you want to grab it for full price and money is not an issue, surely, but from my opinion, I recommend waiting for a sale. It's really not that bad if you wait for a sale for a game to just be a bit cheaper before you buy it, because after all, it's like any other hack and slash zombie game. It doesn't do anything revolutionary, but it is fun to play with friends and overall just beating zombies senseless and everything. So my recommendation for those who want to save a bit more money but still play this game is to wait for a sale. Sales often happen on Steam, on other platforms too, and you can surely grab it for cheap, maybe even sometime soon. Especially when summer sale comes around, then you'll be able to get any game for dirt cheap. So, as a final word, I'd want to say that the 10-year wait for this game to actually come out, well, I'd say it was worth it, especially seeing how often the developers changed and sinking millions upon millions of dollars into the game's production, and a studio actually picking it up and actually finishing it so it's not as buggy, so it actually runs nicely and everything. I'd say it's definitely worth a shot, especially if you were one of the people like me that were actually waiting for the game to come out and seeing the nice videos come out before the game was out about the gore and how the playstyle looks. So, yes, I'd recommend the game. Of course, choose wisely, especially if you can afford the game but not anything else, then I'd recommend waiting for a sale. But with that being said, this was Digital Control, and if you want another game or any other game for me to review, then surely leave that in the comments, and I'll be seeing you in the next one.